Hello, dear friends. Earlier, I already talked about a similar 4-channel Tuya Smart relay with dry contacts. I showed how it connects, how it works with a remote control, with the app, and with automations. But today we have a more interesting version of this relay, because the manufacturer has added the ability to connect an external temperature sensor, or a temperature and humidity sensor. And at first glance, this may look like a small change, but in practice it greatly expands the possible use cases. Now this is no longer just 4 remotely controlled contacts, but a kind of small controller for climate automation. For example, based on this relay, you can make a simple thermostat for controlling a heating boiler, set the required temperature in the room, and at the same time use the remaining channels for pumps, actuators, an exhaust fan, or other devices. Besides heating, this relay can also be useful for ventilation, a greenhouse, an incubator, a server cabinet, an aquarium, or a terrarium, where it is important not only to turn the load on and off, but also to react to temperature or humidity. The channels can be controlled manually with the buttons on the body, with a wireless 433 MHz remote control through the Tuya Smart or Smart Life app, and also through smart home scenarios and automations. So today let's take a detailed look at what this updated relay can do, and most importantly, in what real tasks it can actually be useful. In terms of specifications, this is a 4-channel Tuya Wi-Fi relay with support for the Tuya Smart or Smart Life app. Each channel is rated for a load of up to 10 amps or about 2000 watts, and the total load for all 4 channels is stated as up to 16 amps or 3500 watts. But here it is important to understand that this is a relay with dry contacts. This means that these contacts can be used not only for switching a load, but also simply as a logical closing or opening of a circuit. Depending on the version, the relay itself can be powered either from direct current from 7 to 32 volts or from alternating current from 85 to 250 volts, so when buying it, be sure to check which version you are ordering. For connection, Wi-Fi 2.4 GHz is used. There is also a Zigbee version, and I will leave links to the different versions in the description under the video. Bluetooth is also supported for easier device pairing in the app. In addition, the relay supports operation with a wireless remote control at a frequency of 433 MHz. The housing size is 75 by 73 by 20 mm. The main difference of this version is support for an external temperature sensor or a temperature and humidity sensor. Temperature is displayed with an accuracy of 0.1 degrees and humidity with a step of 1%. The declared temperature measurement range is from -20 to 100 degrees and the humidity range is from 5 to 80%. For temperature, the manufacturer states an error of plus or minus 0.5 degrees, and for humidity, plus or minus 5% in the range from 20 to 80% humidity. The relay comes in a small cardboard box. On the sticker or marking, you can see the device version, with the index T or TH. As far as I understand, the T version comes only with a temperature sensor, and the TH version comes with a temperature and humidity sensor. In the previous similar relay, I had a 4-channel remote control included right in the kit, but here, instead of it, there is an external sensor. When buying, you can choose the version with a regular temperature sensor. It is made in a sealed housing, so such a sensor can be used, for example, to measure the temperature of a liquid. In my case, this is an external temperature and humidity sensor. The cable length is a little over 1 meter. On one side, there is a 3-pin connector for connecting to the relay itself, and on the other side, the sensor body. Its back side is flat, so the sensor can be attached with double-sided tape screwed in with a self-tapping screw or simply hung in the right place since the body has a special mounting hole for this. The kit also includes an instruction manual in Chinese and English. The useful part in it is the wiring diagram for connecting power and load to the relay, as well as a description of how to pair a wireless remote or key fob at 433 MHz. And of course, inside the box there is the 4-channel relay itself. The relay is made in a square housing and can be mounted on a DIN rail, where it takes up about 2 slots. There are technical openings on the sides. At the bottom, there is a terminal block for power from 7 to 32 volts, and next to it there is a micro USB port for 5-volt power. The power consumption is low, around 200 milliamps, so if needed, the relay can even be powered from a regular power bank and provide backup power in case the main power is lost. In the lower right corner, there is a connector for an external temperature sensor or temperature and humidity sensor. At the top, there are 4 independent relays with dry contacts: common, normally open, and normally closed. I have already explained such contacts in detail in a separate video. I will leave a link in the description, so we will not stop on this topic here. The main specifications are printed on the front side. There is a reset button, an LED status indicator, and 4 manual control buttons, 1 for each channel. The relay is not loud, so it should not disturb your sleep. The housing is quite easy to disassemble, you just need to release the latches. Inside, each channel has a separate Songla SRD05 VDC SL relay. These are common 5-volt relays, usually rated for up to 10 amps, but I would be careful with the maximum load. The soldering is neat, but the power traces do not look very massive, so I would not connect a heavy load at the limit. For pumps, motors, and other serious loads, it is better to use this relay as a control relay, for example through a contactor or an intermediate relay. On the left side of the board, there is the RF433 MHz antenna, and on the right side there is the Tuya CB3S module, which is responsible for Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, and operation in the Tuya ecosystem. Now let's connect the relay to the Tuya Smart Home. I have the Wi-Fi version for review, so apart from a Wi-Fi router, internet, and the Tuya Smart or Smart Life app, nothing else is needed. After power is applied, the relay immediately enters pairing mode. This is indicated by the flashing red LED. If the indicator is not flashing, hold the reset button for about 5 seconds. After that, open the Tuya Smart or Smart Life app, tap the plus button in the upper corner, and choose to add a device. In my case, the relay was found automatically and added as a 4th device. If the automatic search does not work, you can select the device manually with the required protocol, Wi-Fi or Zigbee, and then follow the instructions on the screen. From the main menu, you can turn all 4 relay channels on or off with one button. But there is an important point here: if at least one of the 4 channels is turned on, the general device status will already be shown as on. Accordingly, if you press the off button, all active channels will be switched off. And if you press the on button when everything is off, all 4 relays will turn on at once. Nearby, the current temperature and humidity from the connected external sensor are displayed. This is convenient, because on the main screen you can immediately see not only the relay status, but also the climate data. After the first connection, I was also offered a firmware update from version 0.3 to 1.1, and I installed it. On the main screen, we see the current temperature and humidity. Below, you can use one common switch to control all channels at once, or turn each of the 4 relays on and off separately. Each channel has its own control button, and this button also shows the actual status, even if the relay was turned on not from the app but with the physical button, the remote control, or an automation. For each channel, you can set its own operating timer or schedule. A countdown function is also available. After the specified time, the relay will change its state. If it was off, it will turn on, and if it was on, it will turn off. This is the manual control option. But the main difference of this version is that the relay can be switched to automatic mode. For this, there is a separate switch at the bottom of the app. After automatic mode is enabled, the relay can already work autonomously, based on the readings from the external temperature or humidity sensor. We select the required channel, then choose which parameter it should respond to, temperature or humidity. Then we set the condition, greater than or less than the selected value, and choose the action, turn the relay on or off. The temperature is set with a step of 0.1 degrees, and the humidity with a step of 1%. For example, you can create simple thermostat logic. If the temperature is below the set value, turn the relay on, and if it is above another value, turn it off. After setting it up, do not forget to enable this scenario and save it. After that, the selected relay card will show the temperature or humidity range at which the relay will be triggered. It is quite clear and convenient. Below, there is a statistics section, where you can view the temperature and humidity sensor readings by day, month, or year. There is also an activity log, and it is separated for each relay individually. This is useful if you need to understand exactly when a particular channel was triggered and how often the device turned the load on or off. Let's go to the settings. Here you can change the temperature units, Celsius or Fahrenheit. Below, there is temperature and humidity calibration. That means if the external sensor slightly overstates or understates the readings, you can manually add a correction. For temperature, the adjustment step is 0.1 degrees, and for humidity, it is 1%. Next are the temperature and humidity sensitivity settings. This is not calibration, but the minimum change in readings that the device will react to. For example, for temperature you can choose a sensitivity of 0.1, 0.2, 0.3 degrees and so on, and for humidity 1, 2, or 3%. The lower the value, the more often the device will react to small changes from the sensor. There is also a child lock function, which blocks accidental button presses on the body. This can be useful if the relay is installed in an accessible place and you do not want someone to accidentally turn a channel on or off manually. Below, there is the relay_status setting. The translation here is not very convenient, of course, but essentially this is the behavior of the relay after power is lost and restored. In relay_status_off mode, the channels will be turned off after power is applied. And relay_status_memory mode allows the relay to restore its last state. That is, if some relay was on before the power was lost, it will turn on again after power is restored. And at the bottom, there is the automatic setup item, where you can go to the settings of the relay's automatic operation based on temperature or humidity. Overall, the settings are not overloaded, but the most important things are here: sensor calibration, trigger sensitivity, button lock, and the choice of relay behavior after a power outage. For a device that can control heating, ventilation, pumps, or other automation, these are really important parameters because they affect not only convenience but also the logic of the entire system. Now let's see what this device can do in Tuya Automations. Let's start with the option where the relay acts as a trigger, meaning it is used in the if condition. There are not many conditions here, but overall everything is useful. The first one is the state of one of the relays, whether it is on or off. For example, if relay number 1 turns on, you can use this event to start another device or run a separate scenario. You can also monitor the state of the main switch of the device. And of course, the most interesting option for this version is to use the data from the external temperature and humidity sensor as a condition for automations of other devices. For example, you can create a simple automation. If relay number 1 turns on, then turn on the bathroom light, start the exhaust fan, or activate another device in the Tuya system. Or use temperature and humidity as a trigger. If the humidity rises above the set value, turn on a fan or exhaust fan. Now let's see what the relay can do as an executor, that is, in the then part of a scenario. Here everything is also quite simple and clear. You can turn each channel on or off separately, control all relays at once, change the operating mode, or change the relay state. But the main actions are, of course, turning the required channel on and off. For example, you can create a scenario: if the sun has risen, turn off relay number 2. Or, on the contrary, if a motion sensor is triggered, turn on the required channel for lighting, a pump, a valve, or another connected device. The automations here are not overloaded with unnecessary options, but the basic capabilities are present. The relay can be both a condition for starting a scenario and an executive device that turns the load on or off by a smart home command. Moving on to Home Assistant. Since I have the Wi-Fi version of the relay on review, it can be used through the Tuya or Local Tuya integration. After adding the device to the Tuya Smart or Smart Life app, we go to Home Assistant, open the Tuya integration, and update the list of devices. After that, we look for our relay. Here it has appeared in the list. We go inside and see that Home Assistant pulled in only 2 channels out of 4. It is very strange why 2, and not 3 or 1. Each channel can be turned on and off independently, and you can also see its current status and how long it has been on or off. In addition, data from the external temperature and humidity sensor is transferred to Home Assistant, and everything is fine here. The graphs are drawn and updated, and the operation log is also kept. All these entities can be added to the Lovelace dashboard and controlled manually from there. They can also be used in Home Assistant automations, for example, turning on an extractor fan based on humidity, starting a pump based on temperature, controlling a boiler, lighting, a valve, or any other device connected to one of the channels. The operation log is also present, so you can see when the state of only 2 relays changed or when the sensor readings were updated. As a result, the device integrates into Home Assistant, but allows working with only 2 channels separately, manually, by schedule, or through smart home automations. Now let's once again look in practice at why dry contacts make this relay truly universal. First, I will connect a multimeter in continuity mode to the common and normally open contact of one of the relays. While the channel is off, the circuit is open and the multimeter is silent. We turn on the relay from the app, with the button on the body, or through an automation, the contact closes, and the multimeter shows that the circuit has closed. So in this mode, the relay can work simply as a logical button, without sending its own voltage to the controlled device. This is convenient for boilers, gates, control boards, alarm systems, controllers, thermostats, and any equipment where a regular dry contact is needed. But if necessary, you can also pass power to a load through these contacts. For example, let's connect a simple light bulb. We feed power through the relay contact, turn on the channel, and the bulb lights up. We turn it off, and the power circuit is interrupted. So the same device can be used both as a regular load switch and as a dry contact for controlling other electronics. This is exactly why I like these relays. In conclusion, the relay turned out to be quite interesting. This is no longer just a block of 4 channels, but a more universal automation module. It has manual control from the body, control through the Tuya or Smart Life app, support for a 433 MHz remote control, timers, schedules, scenarios, and an external temperature and humidity sensor. And this sensor greatly changes how the device can be used. Because now, based on one small relay, you can make a simple thermostat, humidity-based exhaust control, temperature-based ventilation, pump control, lighting control, valves, actuators, an aquarium, a greenhouse, a terrarium, or a server cabinet. Another separate advantage is that the device can work not only from mains power, but also from low voltage. In my case, the relay can be powered from 7 to 32 volts, and this exact voltage is often found in gate drives, or even from 5 volts through micro USB. Power consumption is low, so for some tasks it can realistically be powered from a power bank or a small backup power system. If the main voltage disappears, the control logic can continue to work, especially if the relay is used specifically as a dry contact. Of course, I would not treat the maximum 10 amps per channel as an invitation to constantly load the board at its limit. For serious pumps, motors, heaters, and other powerful loads, it is better to leave a safety margin or use this relay as a control relay for a contactor or an intermediate relay. But for automation, dry contacts, small loads, and controlling different devices, it looks very practical. So personally, I like this version more than a regular 4-channel relay without a sensor. There are more possibilities, the scenarios are more interesting, and the price still remains within the range of typical Tuya modules. If you are building a smart home, setting up heating, ventilation, pump control, a greenhouse, an aquarium, or simply want a universal 4-channel module, this relay is definitely worth considering. As usual, I will leave all the links in the description under the video. There will be different versions of this relay, the version with a temperature sensor, the version with a temperature and humidity sensor, as well as other useful smart home devices. If the video was useful, support it with a like and subscribe to the channel so you do not miss new reviews. Also visit our Telegram group where I post links, coupons, deals, and new smart home products. There is also a forum where questions are divided into sections, and pages on Facebook and X. Thank you all for watching. Peaceful skies, kindness, and see you in new videos. Bye bye.